Okay, I'll start. So my name is Andre Dean. I'm an electrical engineer at Textron Systems. Been here for 25 years. Worked on mainly UAV programs, starting from Pioneer in the early 90s up into some of the shadow programs now. Um, Most of my roles include basic electronic troubleshooting, design, circuit design, analysis, manufacturing support, just about anything electrical engineering I've been a part of in my career. Right.
Yeah, I'll go next. My name is Robert Little. I'm an electrical engineer also. I work for Textron Systems, and I'm primarily work on military vehicles, all the power distribution and everything that goes into the vehicle, the design, like Andre said, design, manufacturing, support, things like that. That's what I've been working on the past year and 8 months, going on 2 years. And I went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was a part of both organizations as well, NESB and IEEE. So I was in the same seats as you all not too long ago. And yeah, that's a little bit about what I do now.
And I am Alan Perrin. I have been with Textron Systems for a little over a year now. I have my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, but I work as a systems engineer on the UAV ground control systems. So I work on both our OSRBT and our GCS products. A little bit about what I do is mostly just requirements, derivation, along with systems integration and test, and then any merging of different projects to integrate with one another. So I've been here a year and I've learned a lot so far, but I'm excited to get to the point where Andre is 25 years later, hopefully.
And then I'm Casey. So as I mentioned, I'm here for the HR support, but I work specifically in university relations recruiting. So I do the recruitment and selection for interns, co-ops, and entry-level hires. I have most of the engineering domains, so anything from electrical, software, mechanical, you name it, really whatever it might be for all of our domains. So if you have any questions about any of the positions, anything we have open, or what, maybe working at Textron Systems might look like, please let me or anybody know. I see we have a decent amount of people on the call. I didn't know, if you guys are comfortable, if anyone wanted to speak and just mention maybe, what year you are, major, or maybe what your interests might be or what you're potentially looking for in either an internship or entry-level job. If anyone wants to mention that, then that might help us to know, what you want to talk about or something, or what you might want to learn more about.
Can you hear me? I'm interested in learning more about internships, how you would go about getting one.
So I can talk first just a little bit about the process. I know that's not as exciting, but then if someone wants to take over about maybe what some projects might look like, but for our internship application, so everybody does have to apply online. So I can pop in the chat the link of where to apply. So it's going to be textronsystems.com/careers. And there you can kind of look for and filter by business unit, by function, whatever you might be interested in. And then from there, all the positions would pop up. Now, we do have everybody apply online, although we do prioritize the students that we meet on campus and through virtual events like this. So we keep track of all your names, and I can even put my email in the chat if anyone's interested in connecting with me if you've applied or have questions about the application process. And then from there, a recruiter such as myself would look through your application in our applicant tracking system and pass your resume through to one of our hiring managers who, if you are a match, would then be set up for an interview. So that's just a little bit about what the process looks like. All of our positions are currently posted externally, so I would encourage you, if you haven't done so, to apply to any of our positions. And then within the coming weeks, we'd ideally be setting up interviews again if you were a match for one of our positions. But I didn't know, does anyone else want to talk about maybe what some of the intern projects look like or anything like that? I know that's probably a little bit more exciting than the boring application process.
So I'll jump in. So when we have interns, they actually are involved in some of a lot of the hands-on work that we do. We have a lab, we have a manufacturing department, test facility. So a lot of times they will be involved in some of our daily, everyday activities, mainly support roles, helping us perform electrical tests, collecting test data, sometimes plotting test data. I believe a lot of the software, I can't really speak on, but I've seen a lot of software engineers, interns perform software development to a certain degree. They're assisting with certain software tools, and so they actually do hands-on work. It's whatever program you are, it'll vary, but typically they don't just do busy work. They are involved in a lot of the day-to-day activities around here.
Yeah, I could speak on it. So recently we had our intern. The past 2 summers he worked on like real life projects. We didn't give him busy work like he said. Like in my division, we work on a lot of power distribution and creating harnesses and cabling and things like that. And we'll give them, you know, real work to do that. We'll actually use. I mean, we're not gonna just not help them with the project. We help them through the whole process and help them learn, and not just give them busy work that they're not really learning from. So yeah.
And then on my side of the systems engineering, and then also touching on the software stuff, we had a couple interns, one software, one systems, both getting hands-on experience on the system. So a few months ago, we had a systems engineer who wanted hands-on experience, wanted to be involved with the physical product. So when we had a testing event, they were able to jump down into a shelter with me, and we got rolling and starting to test all the hardware functions of that product. So he was super helpful, and he gave us his interests, and then our supervisor was able to kind of accommodate what he was looking for to try to help him better those skills and see if he'd be a good fit here in the long run.
So I see there's a question in the chat about Ben is trying to figure out what he wants to do, and pre-computer engineering. I can't speak a lot about the computer side, but I will say I believe in a lot of industries like ours, if you can learn how to one thing that we have I won't say a weakness, but not a whole lot of people that I've come in contact to are really good at microcontroller programming and things like that, where we need an application that necessarily won't run on a Windows platform, but it may need to run on a microchip because it's going into a box. It's going to be shoved somewhere with no human control. Some of those things are things you might want to consider or look into that may be useful here or other divisions of Textron.
I also see we have another question in the chat. How is Textron Systems different than other companies? I didn't know if you three wanted to speak on that and talk about it more from the engineering side. I'm sure that's, a little more interesting what they want to know about.
So I can say, and I want to take over the conversation, but from my experience, and I haven't had a lot of different experiences in different companies. I've been here for so long, but I do know a lot of companies don't have labs or manufacturing departments, so you're forced to work in a what I call a business environment where you're at your desk all the time. Where at least we have a manufacturing department or a test department where you actually have to leave your desk and physically be a part of the test event or the manufacturing process, because we do everything. A lot of things we do in house, so that varies. For some places, you just do your design and it gets shipped to another division in another state, and they actually do all the hands-on work.
I could agree to that. We built a prototype vehicle not too long ago, and we got to actually see what we worked on. I think that's a big plus. Some places you don't get to see exactly what you work on because it might be, made somewhere else or things like that. And I think that's a big plus as far as engineers go for me. And like on my product, the product we work on with the vehicles, we got to see the vehicle. We developed the vehicle from start to finish, so we got to see the whole process. Whereas, some places you might work on this individual piece of the whole product. Whereas in my division, we got to work on the product from start to finish and see the whole process go along. So I kind of like that. That was kind of different from the internships that I had and stuff like that.
All right. So then the next question was about entry level and clearance. I don't know if I can answer that one per se, but most of the interns don't have a clearance, and even entry level, you don't have one. Usually, you won't get tasked on a classified project, but if you do, there's a process. But I don't think it's a requirement. But I think HR could probably answer that better than I could.
Yeah, no worries, Andre. I can speak on that as well. So we just ask that all employees at least have the ability, excuse me, to obtain a security clearance. Not necessarily that they'll need one, but we just ask that you at least have the ability to. And we typically don't have interns obtaining them, but as a full-time employee, you potentially could. But again, we just ask that you at least have the ability to obtain that.
Okay. And I'll jump on the next question. How does Textron help you progress towards your career goals? Yes, they depending on what you are and where you work, that is possible. You have the ability to learn hands-on, which is always important. I'm not sure about any as far as if you need to do more further education. I can't answer that per se, but there used to be a time where you can actually go to school also to further your advanced degree if you needed to. There used to be an option. I'm not sure if it still applies, but as far as helping you with your career, pretty much I've seen people progress in their careers, and there are a couple of guys that in my career started as interns, and now I'm working for one of them on his program. So that's how that works.
I can also touch on that a little bit too, that I just wanted to talk about career goals or maybe professional development. So a few cool things that the company does offer is that we do have a first year experience program. So all new hires, meaning those who recently just graduated college and are entering the workforce, we do have an organization or program for you to join so you can connect with other new hires from all functions. So it's kind of nice to connect outside of the business. For example, we've hosted happy hours, they've gone to Orioles games, things like that, just so you can connect. And then also the Young Professionals Association. And these programs, again, get together or just ways to connect so you can kind of feel like you're growing together or seeing what, other opportunities other employees are witnessing. We also offer professional development courses through Textron University, we call it. So if you have a particular interest in maybe a domain or an area that you don't have expertise, so to speak, in, we do offer these courses that you can take, to further your knowledge in those particular areas as well. So I think those are just some cool things that we do offer, and also allow you to connect with others in the business who might be in another function. For example, if you're in engineering, you could still connect with someone in finance through YPA. So it's kind of nice just to broaden your networking throughout the company. And then we do also offer tuition assistance for full-time employees who are looking to go back and get further education in their particular domain. So that's something kind of cool. For undergrads, I believe it's $8,000 per year, and then graduate is $10,000. So I know a lot of employees use this, and that's also a way to develop as a professional because the company really does help you there. So just kind of a few things that I wanted to point out, because sometimes we don't always talk about them, but they are pretty cool, and a lot of employees really do participate in these programs.
And one more thing to add on about the career goals. I know that we talk with our bosses or leaders. I know we talk with them like twice a year about our career goals and how we could improve ourselves every year. So we do talk with them about our career goals, and we try to work on improving ourselves that way. And I guess the next question was, how has the pandemic affected what work looks like at Textron? I mean, it's a lot more virtual things now, I would say. But things are starting to get better from what I could see. But it's a lot more virtual things like this now at Textron.
Yeah, I would agree with Robert. Yeah, we made provisions we did a lot of teleworking initially. We all phased back I think we pretty much have all phased back into the building. We had to follow protocol. We had to wear the mask and, stay home if you had exposure to, an infection or anything like that. But, things still worked out. Unfortunately or fortunately, sometimes you had to come in if you were involved in a physical hands-on, program where you needed to test or design or help manufacture some things. So, but for the most part, they went well in making things work smoothly with the pandemic.
Yeah, and I could say they cared about our safety and employee safety a lot. You know, I got to work from home for a while when the pandemic started and things like that. So they took that, first over just coming to work and getting your work done. So.
And for
on a lighter
reference,
note,
go ahead,
Okay.
Alan.
On a lighter note, I started here in July last year, so I am now meeting my team for the first time without masks. So it's interesting to finally get to see who I'm actually working with. But we've done a really good job, still communicating well with all the protocols and being safe around here. So it's been great so far.
And I just wanted to mention that our internships for 2022 are going to be in person. So we are not having, fully remote internships, just, if anyone was wondering. And then with new hires as well, the plan is for everyone to start in person, although we do allow for some flexibility. But for the most part, plan to be in person. I didn't know if anyone was wondering about that.
Okay, the next question was, what skills or what is one skill new hires or interns seem to lack? I don't think they lack a whole lot of things. I think they're pretty much well trained in terms of their college education. That's a hard question to answer because I've run into a lot of interns and most of them are very sharp in terms of like I said, they're college discipline, their schooling. Most of the mistakes, most of the things that they don't do right or lack is they're just lack of experience because they're just newer and younger. You know what I mean? So they don't really lack anything, to be honest. Now I will say, years ago, we had a couple of interns, and this is when I guess the heyday of video games came out, where every now and again you would see them huddled somewhere playing video games, don't work hours. That was a little, we talked a little bit. They got over it, but for the most part, the interns that we had over the last few years, they come in, they're eager to work, eager to learn. They get involved, and I guess if you keep them occupied and keep them busy, they learn. So I haven't seen much to complain about lacking in terms of what they lack. I haven't seen a lot. They all seem to be pretty sharp.
I'll speak on it. As an intern for me, personally, when I first started, I was a little scared to ask questions and go talk to my supervisor or my mentor at my internships about stuff I was working on. I was scared to look like I didn't know anything, but that's kind of expected for you when you're such an internship, not to know anything. But that was one thing I'll just say, like speaking out and asking questions, I think is a big thing because it shows that you're interested, shows that you want to work for the company and learn more about the product. And I think just speaking out more and asking questions is just one thing I could say that would be important during the internship.
And then as for the next question, I do see a question about as a graduating senior. So those who are graduating, I would recommend applying for entry-level positions because those do start typically in July of the summer after you graduate. And just for reference, students that have graduated unfortunately cannot be considered for internships. So just remember to look at, entry-level roles. But we do have co-ops available too that, if you're still a student, you could do during the school year. So the ones that we do have posted right now are going to be our spring co-ops. So those would typically be from the January to April or May timeframe. So I just kind of like to highlight those two. I know they're not as popular, but we do we do have those as well. And then Olivia, we do have a cyber internship. It's going to be a cybersecurity engineering internship available within our air systems domain. So that is an internship, but it is kind of cool. It's like cybersecurity. So that is something that we do offer.
Oh, wait. So what is it called again? I have to write this down for in the future reference. I'm currently trying to
Yeah.
look for internships I could do for like over the summer. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep. So this internship is our internship program for reference in general is about 10 weeks long. So this position is called the cybersecurity engineering internship within our air systems domain. And I can put the job number in the chat, for you and anyone who might be interested in that
So
particular position.
over what? I'm sorry. Over what?
No worries.
I got service.
It's in our it's in our air systems domain. So it would say cybersecurity engineer air, just for reference.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, and I can put that job number.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, I see one. There was the question about are there any grand or big projects that Textron is working on, and can you get a glimpse or summary of what that is? So I can't speak for other divisions because it's a large company, but the Hunt Valley, we have the UAV program, which is actually a fielded program for the Army Shadow program. So that's big. It's been around for a long time. And they are sometimes smaller divisions of that program that we have smaller projects associated with that larger program. So that's one of them. And I can't get into a whole lot of technical details, but basically it's an unmanned aircraft, and it's a little different from your drones where we don't use just your standard off the shelf daily equipment. It's actually custom equipment that we have to design, specify, integrate. So it's like I said, it's not an off-the-shelf system, which means there's a lot of engineering involved in it. So something like that can be considered a huge or big program.
I could speak on what we're working on. We're working on a new military program for advanced reconnaissance vehicle. It's an amphibious recon military vehicle. We have built a prototype, and even if you go to Textron Systems, website, you'll even see a video of the vehicle we're working on. So if you wanted to see like a glimpse of what we're working on, you can kind of go on the website and they have a video about the vehicle that we're working on. So they even have like a little section talking about it and how it might look in the future and all that. Not too much in the internal, like he said, but yeah, you'll see the type of product.
Robert?
Yeah, ARV.
Okay, I'll drop the I just dropped the link in the chat to see that video if anyone's interested. Just kind of a cool thing to take a glimpse at. One of the newer projects.
And then also, Josh, I think we skipped over your question. You asked about any internship positions for international students and or graduate students. So as for international students, we say you're still welcome to apply. It's just evaluated on a case-by-case basis, depending on what position you applied for and the domain that it's in. Just due to the nature of our work, sometimes it just depends on the government contract. So absolutely still apply, but it just is reviewed on a case-by-case basis. And then as for graduate students, we absolutely have opportunities available, whether it be internships, if it's in the summer between your grad years, or entry-level positions as well. And you are compensated a little bit higher for having a graduate degree. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
I saw a question about what was the most project that we were proud of. So I will say part of mine is part of the Shadow system because I was here before it started and watched it actually from sketches on the back of papers to being a real thing. So and I was involved in a lot of it from day one. So that is cool to see how it was started and how it progressed and how it expanded and how it's changing, and even the later start stage of this program, is still some things that are changing that are still unique and different. It's like, wow, this thing's still going on. So that is a proud moment to be a part of a project for many years. So that is cool.
And then I do see that we had a couple of questions about co-ops. So just a little bit more information about those. So our co-ops do take place during the school year. So you would be working almost like an internship, but during the school year. So they can either be part-time in addition to your schoolwork, or we do have some co-ops that are 40 hours. So instead of having your credits per semester, you would replace that with a full-time co-op where you would be working, but you would essentially be getting like class credit for it. That's kind of usually how they work. So it really varies from team to team. We do have co-op opportunities open at our different business unit locations. So down in New Orleans, Louisiana, Hunt Valley, Maryland, so that would be closest to Baltimore, and then also Wilmington, Massachusetts. We do have co-ops within electrical, software, mechanical, and again, those would be on our website, but just for reference, the co-ops are, basically like a job, but during the school year in addition to your schoolwork or in place of it, for reference.
Yeah.
And even if you did apply for just an internship or an entry-level job, you could still discuss the possibility or apply to a co-op during the spring as well. That doesn't, just because you applied to one doesn't mean you can't to another. Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did a co-op. That was my first internship, and you still, you have to take off a semester. I took off a semester of school to do my co-op, but you think about, oh, it's gonna push my graduation date back, but that co-op helped me get, all the rest of my internships, and I think the co-op was really great for, my career and helping me start out. Having that experience really helps you, get a job or get another internship or things like that. To co-op, I feel is really beneficial to, advancing your career. That's all I had to say about that.
And then I do see that we have a couple questions about software positions. Maybe if one of you could maybe touch on what a career path for someone might look like in a software position, and then also what version control software we use, if anyone can touch on that.
So I'm not a software guy at all. I couldn't begin to tell you what they actually, I believe the industry standard is, I believe, C++. I don't know what program they actually use. I can't answer that. And anything involved in command and control, even if I knew, I probably couldn't mention it anyway. But in terms of software, I do see the software group. They like I said, they do a lot of work. I see them advance. They seem to enjoy what they do, and they always seem to be busy. So that's about the best I can say about the software guys. I'm a hardware guy, and hardware guys, software guys always have a friendly, we claim we have to fix their software with our hardware type thing. So, but I know they work hard, and they seem to enjoy their jobs a lot.
Yeah, talk about the career path. It's kind of like they could be it's similar career path. They could be real technical and go into being an expert in their field and take the technical route, or you could go like a managerial route and be a manager and be like that. If that's what you were asking about career path. But we work with a lot of software engineers, electrical, mechanical. We all work together, so it'd be on our program. And I could see they have some Java, C++, a lot of object-oriented stuff. That's more of the software I see. But I don't see too
just
much
going off
Java, but
Robert, I was going to say, just going off what you said, I know at least a lot of hiring managers just look for languages like the C++, C#, Python, or Java. It's kind of a big range. So if you know any of those, you should be good. So it's not like one specific one, at least, when we screen in resumes and in the hiring process, at least. And then I do see a question, are there any internships or jobs related to information systems? So yes, we do have separate positions available within IT. So there are all positions there. So if you do go to the textronsystems.com/careers, you can filter in there if you specifically want an IT position or more of an engineering position. So you can filter, you know, by function, location, whatever it might be. And then those positions would come up. So we do have those as well.
So I see something about FPGA. I don't know about the positions available, but I do know we have a group that does that a lot, and I think it might be worth looking into at Hunt Valley.
Yeah, we don't have any internships that are specifically with that title or anything like that. But again, you could always check the website, but more so it's more generalized of software, electrical, that kind of thing.
I see the next question about how my performance would be measured. So when I started here last year, and then at the beginning of each year, you sit down with your manager and we set kind of goals for the year, what we can expect to improve on, what we can expect to keep doing well, what our job tasks would be, and what it would look like to exceed those expectations. And then at the end of the year, you kind of take a look back through and see, you know, what have you done over the course of the year? Have you met those expectations? Have you exceeded anything? Is there any areas that, you know, could use some improvement? And along with that end of year review, you also get, you know, a couple times throughout the year to kind of just make sure you're on pace and doing everything as expected.
Okay, so what we love about Textron, I'll answer that from my perspective. I'm lucky to work with a lot of different people with different perspectives and different backgrounds, and you know, we all come together for a common, you know, a common solution, and that is the best part about it. Just being in a you know, diverse community of engineers and other people, and that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess I'll speak
Uh,
next.
You go ahead,
But
Robert.
all right. But yeah, I would say the people around me kind of makes the job, you know, it kind of makes the job better and makes it, you know, worth coming to. And also, you know, the product we work on, I think the product we work on is pretty cool. So I enjoy working on that and enjoy coming to work with the people I work around. So I would say.
And on my end, I'm from Connecticut, and then I went to school in Florida. So I have zero connections at all to Maryland. And then when I moved here out of the blue, it was something that was very, you know, everyone here was very inviting and took me in and was able to make me feel comfortable here. So the biggest thing that I like about here is that everyone who is here wants to be here. It's not like, you know, they're here because they just ended up settling down here. This is usually where people want to be. So being surrounded by those kind of people really bring out the best performance-wise. So that's what I enjoy about Textron.
I would have to say that I really like all of the different business units that we're connected with, and then just the different domains within Textron systems. So for example, I support the air systems domain, land systems, sea systems. So it's really cool for me to meet all these different people and see the different products that we all work on that yet are all still part of Textron systems. So it's really cool. Even though I'm in HR, I still get to interact with the engineers. They show me their products, they show me their labs. So it's really cool that you're not just always at your desk, you really are interacting, and the products are really cool. And it's nice to see that we have them, you know, on campus, on site. So I really enjoy that. And then also that we work with the different business units that we're part of. So just for reference, you know, we are Textron Systems, but we are part of Textron Corporate, the conglomerate business. So I still interact with other employees from Bell Helicopter, from Textron Aviation, Specialized Vehicles. So it is really cool that you're still like part of that bigger group. And that's something that I really like that I don't think you can always get elsewhere.
All right, so
Next
I'll
question.
ask Lynn's question, I believe, about yeah, first of all, I like the crabs, you know what I mean? I'm more of a crab cake person than crabs. I'm too lazy to, you know, pick through the meat, but yeah, the crabs are good, and Old Bay season is good and everything. So yeah,
It's always about the crab cakes.
that's right. That's right.
I'll speak for New Orleans. Love the crabs down here. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So, and as far as the software interacting with my department, like I said, we're almost hand in hand, depending on the program or the project, because, you know, I developed the hardware, they developed the software, and we have to make sure it works together. So we pretty much spend a lot of time with each other, and we all work very well for the most part together. So we interact pretty good with those. Also, we have aerospace engineers as well, mechanical engineers, and at any given time, we're all together at the same room or the same lab or whatever, hashing it all out all together. So we all get along pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I work hand in hand with the software, our software team. So it'll be electrical and mechanical and software guys. We all work together for different things throughout our projects. So we work pretty hand in hand with those guys.
Yep.
My perspective as a systems engineer, on the two projects that I work on, working with software is basically an everyday task of mine. So I work on, working on the requirements and making sure those get met, but it's really, I hand that off to the software team to figure out how they want to meet those requirements. That's not my job to tell them how to implement it. It's up to them to figure out how they're going to implement and meet the requirements that we set for ourselves. So it's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of compromise that has to go on between the two programs.
Yep. So how do you measure interns or employee success? So typically when I work with interns, they have a task, and I'll assign them a task, and depending on how long or how much work is involved, I'll meet with them periodically, and typically it's measured on how they progress. Are they making good progress? And and it's not an issue of a technical thing. If they can't figure something out, that's not held against them. But as long as they work and try the best they can and think, that's how you get pretty much you measure it. But it's no for interns. Like I said, we know you're out of school, and you're not gonna get beat over the head for not finishing or not properly performing a task. We just like to see you try, work hard, and think outside the box in a lot of cases, and those things go a long way.
Yeah, I agree with Andre on that one.
Yep.
And then also for interns too, I know that I mentioned the program is about 10 to 12 weeks. And then at the end of your internship, you will do a report out presentation. So that's like a 5 to 10 minute presentation with your department and other interns within your department as well. And that kind of gives you the opportunity to talk about what you worked on over the summer, some things you didn't like, and would maybe like to see improved. And that's a good way too for your manager and other managers to kind of evaluate you and see, oh wow, this person was really great, like that kind of thing. So yeah, that's just something as well.
One question. So about the 5 to 10 minute report that's required for the internship, does that have to be like a PowerPoint form, or it can be like something else? Like,
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I missed the first part.
yeah. So for the 5 to 10 minute report, can it be like an oral presentation or a PowerPoint?
Oh, so sorry. So typically it's a PowerPoint. So we give everybody a template. So everybody's template is the same. And you just input your information with name, position, school, the projects that you worked on, what you learned, what you would change, things like that. But it is a PowerPoint presentation, but everybody has the same template, and then you just customize it. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question about mentorship, and I'm not sure if they're speaking about the LDP thing, but typically if you are a new engineer and you're assigned to a group, most of the time the senior engineers are there to support you. So for the most part, that is your mentorship in a lot of cases, and a lot of times you're working with these people directly every day, so you don't have to request time to speak to them and talk to them. They typically in the area you are and working on the same program. So a lot of times it's a matter of just walking to them or calling them or emailing them and say, hey, I need help. I don't understand this. And typically that's how it works. That's kind of how I was. They didn't have a formal internship program when I started, but I latched on to certain engineers that were more senior than I, and we met every couple of days informally and talked and chatted, and They help me out with things, and that's pretty much how it is now. If you get assigned a program and as a senior engineer, feel free to say, hey, I need help with this, or I need some understanding. But so I don't, like I said, I don't know about any formal quote unquote mentorship programs outside of the LDP program. I don't know enough to speak about that one though.
We actually do offer a formal mentorship program. It's actually kind of funny it was brought up because we just got assigned our mentors today, so it's funny. So, so we do offer that, and that is through one of our Young Professionals Association or first year experience. I forget exactly which one it is, but it is for young professionals. So when you join, you have the opportunity to get a mentor who's either in your field or in another field, and you can connect with them and make it as formal or informal as you want, but you are formally paired with another person. So kind of funny, we did just get our assignments today. But then we also have really informal procedures too, where, if you want to meet with a senior in your department, just put some time on their calendar. A lot of people do that, and I feel like our senior leadership is very open to that and connecting with young professionals. So while that might not be as formal of a mentorship program, if you need some help, feel free to just go into their office or put time on their calendar. That's, a great thing to do too.
I know for me personally, when I need help, I go knock on my I just go knock on my boss's door or whatever, because we have a smaller group, and he's more the senior engineer, and I just go ask him for help. You also could set time aside on the calendar, but most of the time it's open door policy, and we just ask for help as needed.
And one of the cool things about that mentorship program that Casey was talking about is you get to kind of choose what you're looking for in a mentor. So you can, I have two mentors currently, and I've got one that's in my current path. So they're a systems engineer and management. And then I've got someone who's mechanical engineering, because that's what my degree is in. So I was just looking to learn some more information in that area. So kind of branch out and use the mentorship as a networking avenue, as well as how to help you advance in your career however you see fit and learn more about the company.
And then I do see that we have a question. Do we have any advice for new graduates?
I just think just be eager and willing to learn and participate is the most important. I will say sometimes we run into new graduates who are they may be technically more intelligent than some of us, but they kind of have an attitude that I know everything. But for the most part, if you come in here, like I said, willing to learn, willing to work, that's pretty much all we require.
Yeah, I would also mention too, for new graduates, when you begin to connect with as many people as you can, even if you have to go outside your comfort zone and pop into people's offices or set time on their calendar or just connect with people outside of your specific domain, I think that's huge, and it really helps to make connections, because you really never know when you might need someone's help, or you might be working with them on something, even if it seems like it's completely unrelated. I would say, go out of your way to meet as many people as you can outside of your specific role and team.
Okay.
Okay, there's a question about, and I might need help with this one. I'm not sure what imposter syndrome is. Can somebody explain that a little bit? All right, so
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm not sure either. I'll answer the second part of it. Wait a minute, here's somebody, and they don't feel like you're qualified, or despite being quite clearly qualified. So, I can understand that being a situation. I don't think I ever dealt with that here, but I believe, I don't know if people can determine how you personally feel about yourself. I don't know, but I don't know. I think if you are qualified, you are qualified. I would say that if you can present yourself in a manner that people will know that, I don't think you'll be getting treated any differently. Not that being arrogant, but if you know you're qualified and you work on the program, and if you speak up and present yourself properly, I don't think you have a problem. I've seen the opposite, and not necessarily with engineer or new students, where most of the time they're vendors, but they say we can do this and we can do that and we can do this, and then we found out they can't do any of it, and that's not what you want to be. But as far as If you're qualified, you know you're qualified, speak up and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I would just say have confidence in yourself. If you don't feel like you're qualified and you're clearly qualified, just have confidence, be willing to learn, and just do your best. That'll be my advice to that.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think the only kind of similar situation that I've ever been in is sometimes when I interact with these software engineers as part of our team, I'll get into a meeting and they will go headfirst deep dive into their software lingo, and I have no idea what's going on. And I'm more than qualified for my position, but when they start talking software, it is way over my head. So the biggest thing for me is just to be honest and be like, I'm completely lost, and this is out of my realm. So once
Right.
they kind of understand who's in the room, they'll take a step back and really make sure everyone's on the same playing field. So just being upfront and honest helps you get through those situations.
That's true. Yep. Okay. Hey.
I think that's the last question, at least from the chat. I know we still have some time left. Does anyone have any questions? You don't have to type them in the chat. Feel free to unmute as well, or anything else that you'd want to hear about, anything about the company or our positions or anything.
So what would you do if you were?
Let's see. You had a question. What should I make sure to focus on by the end of the semester, other than my classes?
Oh, sorry, Greg. I skipped that one.
I think one thing while you're in school is to really enjoy your time at school, but try to get an understanding of what it is that you like and don't like, because your interest is going to be something that should help you drive what you want in your career. So if you decide, you're taking some of these classes, sometimes learning what you don't like is just as important as learning what you do like. So when you can take those classes and apply those to what you are interested in, it becomes a very nice skill that you can say, I have an interest in this, I have a background in this, and here's what I'm looking for in a job. It gives you kind of an idea of what avenue you want to go with.
Yeah, I agree with Alan. That's good advice.
Yeah, I would say also to maybe join any student organizations or extracurricular activities that could potentially relate to your classes or what you're interested in. I know that always really stands out on resumes, and that's something that my hiring managers like to see. Just something like that is cool. And also to help kind of, again, find your interests or what you're not interested in. So I know a lot of schools offer clubs like that. So, make it fun though. It doesn't have to be boring or anything, but I would say, try to focus on those as well. I think that's something cool that's enjoyable, but then can also help you in the working world.
And kind of jumping on that as well, I had a very strong interest in psychology, which doesn't necessarily always relate. Ended up getting a minor in it, and I took it more of just a fun thing because I enjoyed those classes and it gave me something fun to do while also furthering my education. And then when I got here, I found out that there are human factor engineers here, so I said, how can I incorporate what I learned and my interest into my current role? And I was able to work with GUI design and human machine interfaces. So a lot of the stuff that I learned because I was interested and just sought out extra mentorship from my school or extra classes, it goes a long way and can help you really kind of carve that path for you.
And Ben, I see your question as well. Do they like seeing extracurriculars that aren't related to the field? I would say definitely yes. That's something that my hiring managers always look for. One, it makes the candidate more interesting, but we also, just want to get to know you outside of the working world. So I know a lot of hiring managers like to see something that, they can't read on your resume. So if that came time for an interview or something, bring that up. We want to see that you're a person too and see what you're interested in, because a job goes more than, just what you're working on. It's also about company culture as well. So I would say definitely highlight those things.
Yep, I agree. So I think Josh has his hand up.
Yeah, hi. I had a question about systems engineering. I'm actually running a master's in systems engineering. However, I've never worked as a systems engineer or in an internship. So I was just wondering, what is it like being a systems engineer?
So I can take this one. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, never did anything related to systems engineering at all, applied for the job, was hired, started here day one as a systems engineer with no knowledge of what my job actually was. So it's something that is easy to learn as you go once you have the qualifications for it. But on a day-to-day basis, I basically come in and depending on the project that I'm working on, I'll either deal with requirements. So looking at, high level, what is the customer looking for in our product and how can we make sure that we deliver something to them that they are okay with and that is going to help their cause. So requirements is a big aspect, documenting a lot of the procedure updates or, design processes that we're going through to make sure that we are maintaining, quality products to them. And then going through and actually, once we've got that design process down, kind of going through the engineering V, and we get to do a lot of the testing of it too. So going back through and testing all of those requirements that we created and making sure everything kind of works as intended or can be updated when a failure or issue is present. So the engineering V is something that I don't know if you're familiar with, but is something that we kind of live by around here in systems land.
Okay. Right.
I had another question. I actually have a background in like software engineering, right? And I was thinking, okay, if let's say I had an internship there, how would I like blend my software background with like being a systems engineer?
So I think on my projects, at least, having a software engineering background in the systems world would be more beneficial than my current mechanical background, only because the projects that I'm working on are mostly software based. So a lot of the hardware is already complete when the project comes to us. So it's really just implementing that software. And then when you're going through the debugging of, code, or when you're going through your systems integration and test, for example, if you find bugs, you could have the ability to kind of do a deeper dive and say, here's what I found, that's what I think is where the root cause of the problem is. And then you'll be able to relay those kind of findings that a little bit quicker than some other systems engineers could. You'll be able to relay those findings to the software team and kind of give them a head start, or vice versa. If you're a software engineer who, wants to be involved in the systems engineering and test events, you'll understand how the software works and you'll understand, from a customer side, how it's going to implement the end of the product. So it's definitely a very helpful pairing for those two.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately for me, I need to sign off, but anybody have any last minute questions before I have to leave from me? Okay, well, thanks for the time, and I appreciate it. And I guess if you have any questions, you can reach Casey for me if you want to get in contact with me directly. But I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
Andre.
coming.
Yep, no problem. Alrighty.
Thanks, everyone. I can hang around for a few minutes too if anyone has any questions. Alan and Robert, I don't know if you guys have to hop off, but I can hang around for a few minutes if there are any last minute questions or anything.
I've got a few minutes, but I'll probably hop off around in 10 minutes or so.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll probably hang
I'll
around
hop
for.
off around 12. Well, it's 12 my time, 1 o'clock y'all's time.
Oh, that's right. the time change.
Yeah.
And then I do see a question about applying to multiple positions. Yeah, absolutely. We encourage you to apply to more than one. I would say just to apply to positions that you're actually interested in, though. But yeah, it's no problem at all to apply to more than one. Yeah, because I know it can be kind of confusing seeing land, air, ES, that kind of thing. So just for reference, ES is electronic systems. But at least all of the recs that you would apply to at least would have a location. So if you're you know, focused on one location over the other, that could kind of help you as well. But I know it can be kind of confusing. And also feel free to read the job descriptions, because sometimes that has some more information about the different domains. And if you or anyone else has any questions about the different domains, we're happy to answer those as well. But absolutely feel free to apply to multiple.
I think that's going to be about it. Thank you so much for our speakers for coming in and giving the talk. That was amazing. And thank you all for coming to the panel.